We only conduct ourselves of our duty to you. But pray, Mother, what makes you in such a haste to leave us?
Because I cannot bear to see such management. Nobody takes any pains to please me. I leave your house, I tell you, very ill-edified. My instructions are all contradicted. You show no respect for anything amongst you. Everyone talks aloud here, and the house is a complete Moulin Rouge. If I could just point out, you are a sweetheart, a noisy and impertinent Abigail, who is mighty free of her advice on all occasions. In short, you are a fool, child. 'Tis I who tell you so, who am your grandmother, and have told my son, your father, 100 times that you would grow up to be a perfect rake, and nothing but a plague to him. And for goodness sake, stand up straight! I fancy good luck, sister of his. Oh, you act the prude, and look as if butter wouldn't melt in your mouth. But still waters, they say, run deepest, and underneath your sly airs you carry on a trait I don't at all approve of.
But, Mother!
By your leave, daughter, your conduct is absolutely wrong in everything. You ought to set them a good example, and their late mother managed them much better. You are a sorry economist, and what I can't endure, dressed like any princess. She who desires only to serve her husband, daughter, needs not so much finery.
But, Madame, after all...
Oh, as for you, her brother, I love and respect you. I esteem you very much. But were I in my son, her husband's position, I should earnestly entreat you not to come within our doors. You are always giving advice that good people ought to never follow. I speak a little freely to you, but 'tis my nature. I never chew on what I have at heart.
Oh, your Monsieur Tartuffe is a blessed soul, no doubt.
He's a good man, and should be listened to. I cannot bear with patience to hear him counted at by such a fool as you. Sure!
What? Shall I suffer a censorious bigot to usurp an absolute authority in the family? Shall we not take the least diversion should this precious part think not fit to allow of it?
If we were to hearken to him and give in to his maxims, we could do nothing but what would be made a crime of. For the critical zealot controls everything.
Aye, and everything he controls is well controlled. He would fain show you the way to heaven. And my son ought to make you all love him. Ah!
No! Look, Madame, neither father nor anything can have me to have any regard for him. I should belie my heart to tell him otherwise. To me, his actions are perfectly odious, and I foresee that some time or other, matters will come to an extremity between that wretch and my...
So, 'tis downright scandalous to see an upstart take on him at that rate here. A vagabond, and not a pair of shoes to his feet when he came hither, and the clothes on his back cannot fetch 6 pence. And he should so far forget himself to contradict everything and play the master.
Mercy on me! Matters would go much better were everything managed by his pious direction.
Passes for a saint in your imagination, but believe me, all he does is nothing but hypocrisy.
Oh, what a tongue!
I would not trust him without good security, any more than I trust his man Lawrence.
The servant may be at bottom, I can't tell, but I'll speak for the master, that he is a good man. You wish him ill and reject him because he would tell you the naked truth. 'Tis sin his heart can't brook, and the interest of heaven his only motive.
Aye, but why, for some time past, can't he endure that anybody should come near us? How can a civil visit offend heaven? So much that we must have a din about it, enough to stun one? Among friends, shall I give you my opinion on the matter?
No.
I take him in troth to be jealous of my lady.
Hold your peace and consider what you say. He is not the only one that condemns these visits. The bustle that attends, the people you keep company with, the continually planted at the gate, and such a noisy parson of footmen disturbed the whole neighbourhood. Now, I am willing to believe there's no harm done, but it gives people reason to talk, and that is not well.
Alas, will you hinder people from prating? It would be a very hard thing in life indeed for people to renounce their best friends for any foolish thing that might be said about them. And suppose we should resolve to do so. Do you think that would keep all the world from talking? There is no guarding against calumny, so let us therefore never mind this silly tittle-tattle, and instead endeavour to live innocently ourselves, and leave the gossiping part of mankind to say as they please.
May not neighbor Daphne and her little spouse be the persons who speak ill of us? People whose own conduct is the most ridiculous are always ready to detract from that of others. They never fail readily to catch, at the slightest appearance of an affair, to set the newspaper with joy, to give things the very turn they would have them take. By coloring other people's actions like their own, they think to justify their conduct to the world, and fondly hope, by way of some resemblance, to give their own intrigues the air of innocence, or to shift part of the blame elsewhere, which they find falls too hard upon themselves.
All these stories are nothing to the purpose. Arante is known to lead a blameless life. Her care is all for heaven, and I have heard even she say she has but an indifferent opinion of the company that frequents your house.
Oh, an admirable pattern indeed. She's a mighty good lady and lives strictly, 'tis true, but 'tis age that has brought this ardent zeal upon her, and we know that she's a prude in her own defense. As long as 'twas in her power to make conquest, she did not balk any of her advantages. But when she found the luster of her eyes abate, she would needs announce to the world that was on the point of leaving her, and under the specious mask of great prudence conceals the decay of her worn-out charms. That is the antiquated coquette's last shift. 'Tis hard upon them to see themselves deserted by all their gallants. Thus forsaken, their gloomy disquiet can find no relief by prudery, and the severity of these good ladies censures all and forgives none. They cry out loud about everybody else's way of living, not of a principle of charity, but envy, as not being able to suffer that another should taste those pleasures that people on the decline have no relish for.
The idle stories that are told to please you, daughter. There's no getting a word in your household. Madam here engrosses all the conversation to herself, but I shall be heard in my turn. I tell you that my son never acted a wiser part than when he brought this devout man into his family. That heaven in her time of need sought to reclaim your wandering minds, and it is in your interest to hearken to his counsels, for he reproves nothing that is not blamable. These visits, balls, and assemblies are all the inventions of the wicked spirit, and there's not one word of godliness amongst them, but idle stuff, nonsense, and tales of a tub, and the neighbours all come in for a share, and there's no one they'll stop at to vilify. In short, the heads of reasonable people are turned by such a confusion of meetings. 100 different fancies are concocted about less than nothing, and, as a good doctor said the other day very well, 'tis a perfect Tower of Babel, for everyone there babbles out of all measure. Now, to give you an account of where all this comes in... Is that Spark giggling already? Oh, go and look to your fool to make it! Good day to you, daughter. I shall say no more. Depend upon it, I have not half the respect for your house I once had, and it shall be very fine weather indeed before I set foot in... Oh, come you! You're daydreaming and sleeping in the crucifix! Swell warm your ears for you! March, triumph! March!
Well, I'll not go, for fear she'll fall foul on me again. But that good old lady...
Oh, it's a shame she does not hear you call her so. She gave you to understand how she liked you, and how she was not old enough to be called so yet.
What a heat she was in with us about nothing, and how fond she does seem to be of her Tartuffe.
Oh, truly, all of this is nothing compared to the infatuation of her son. And were you to see him, you'd say he was much worse. Now, his behavior in our public troubles has procured him the character of a man of sense, and of bravery for his prince. But he's grown quite besotted since he became fond of Tartuffe. He calls him brother and loves him 100 times better than either mother, son, daughter, or wife. He's the only confidant of all his secrets and the wise director of all his actions. He caresses, he embraces him, and I think one could have more affection for a mistress. He would have him seated at the upper end of the table and is delighted to see him gobble as much as half a dozen. He must be able to do all the tidbits, and when he belches, he must God bless him. In short, he dotes upon him. He's his all, his hero. He admires all he does, quotes him on all occasions, looks at every trifling action as a wonder and every word an oracle. At the same time, the fellow, knowing his blind spot and willing to make the most on it, has 100 tricks to impose upon his judgment and get his money from him in the way of bigotry. He now pretends truly to take the whole family to task. Even his footboy, the awkward fool, has taken it upon himself to lecture us with his fanatic face and demolish our patches, paints, and ribbons. The rascal the other day tore a fine handkerchief from the Pilgrim's Progress and declared that it was a horrid profanation to mix hellish ornaments with sanctified things. What?
God! You are very fortunate in not having come to the harangue she gave us at the gate, but I saw my husband, and as he did not see me, I will go up to wait his coming.
Well, I'll wait for him here by way of a little amusement. Only bid him good morrow.
I had something to him about my sister's wedding. I suspected Tartuffe's against it, and that he puts my father upon these tedious evasions. You are not ignorant how nearly I am concerned in it. If my friend Molière and my sister are sincerely fond of one another, then his sister, you know, is no less dear to me. Oh, and if it must not.
Brother, good morrow.
Well, I was just going, but I'm glad to see you come back. The country at present is not very pleasant, sir.
Oh, brother, pray stay. You'll give me leave just to inquire news of the family. I can't be easy else. Doreen, how have matters gone these 2 days I've been away? What has happened here? How do they all do?
My lady, the day before yesterday, had a fever all day and was sadly out of order with a strange headache.
And Tartuffe?
Tartuffe?
Tartuffe.
Extremely well. Fat, fair, and fresh-colored.
The poor man.
At night she had no stomach and could not touch a bit of supper. The pain in her head continued so violent.
And Tartuffe?
He supped by himself before her and very heartily ate a brace of partridge and half a leg of mutton hashed.
The poor man.
She never closed her eyes but burned so that she could not get a wink of sleep. We were forced to sit up with her all night.
And Tartuffe?
Being agreeably sleepy, he went from table to his chamber and so into a warm bed, where he slept comfortably till next morning.
Oh, the poor man.
At length, my lady, prevailed upon by our persuasions, resolved to be let blood, and then soon grew easier.
Tartuffe?
He plucked up his spirits, as he should, and fortifying his mind against all evils, to make amends for the blood my lady lost, drank at breakfast for swingy draughts of wine.
Oh, the poor man.
At present, they both are pretty well, and I shall go before and let my lady know just how glad you are of her recovery.
She jokes upon you, brother, to your face, and I must tell you without any design of making you angry. 'Tis not without reason. Was ever such a whim heard of? Is it possible at this time of day for a man to be so bewitching as to make you forget everything for him? That after having in your own home relieved him of his indigence, you should now be ready to make him...
Hold there, brother. You don't know the man you speak of.
Well, I don't know him, since you will have it so, but then in order to know...
Oh, brother, you'd be charmed did you know him, and there'd be no end of your rapture. Why, he's a man that,
Yes.
well, a man that,
Yes.
well, a man that, well, in short, he's a man who always performs as he directs, enjoys a profound peace, and regards the whole world as no more than so much dung. I am quite another by his conversation. He teaches me to set my heart upon nothing. He disengages my mind from friendships and relations, and I could see my brother, children, mother, wife, all expire, and regard it as no more than...
Oh, humane sentiments, I must confess.
Oh, brother, did you but see him as I first met with him, you would love him as well as I do. Why, he arrived every day to church with a composed mien and kneeled down just beside me. He attracted the eyes of the entire congregation by the fervency with which he led his prayers up to heaven. He sighed and moaned very heavily, and every moment humbly kissed the earth. And when I was getting up to go, he would advance before and offer me holy water at the door. Understanding by his boy, who copied him in all things, who he is in his low condition, I would make him presents. But he always offered to return me part. 'Tis too much, he'd say, too much by half. I'm not worth your pity. And when I refused to take it again, he would go and give it amongst the poor before my very face.
Now, you see,
At length, brother, heaven moved me to bring him home, since which everything here seems to prosper.
No.
I see he reproves without distinction. Even with regards to my wife, he is extremely cautious of my honor. He acquaints me who ogles her, and he's 6 times more jealous of her than I am.
well, you see there.
Oh, brother, you can hardly imagine how very good he is. He regards every trifle in himself a sin. He's scandalized by the smallest thing imaginable, so much so that the other day he told me he had caught a flea while at his devotions and had killed it, he imagined, in rather too much anger.
Oh, good God. Do you intend to banter me by such stuff? What does it mean, all this fooling?
Brother, what you say savors of libertinism. You are a little tainted by it, and as I've told you more than once, you'll draw down a heavy judgment on your head one day or the other.
Well, this is the usual strain for such as you. They would have everyone as blind as themselves. To be clear-sighted is libertinism. And such as don't dote upon empty grimaces have neither faith nor respect for sacred things. Come. All this discourse of yours frights not me. I know what I say, and heaven sees my heart. We shall not be slaves to your men of form, that are pretenders to devotion as well as to courage. And just as the truly brave are never those that make much noise wheresoever they are led by honor, so the truly good and pious, who are worthy of our imitation, brother, never those that deal much in grimace. Would you make no distinction between hypocrisy and true devotion? Would you pay the same regard to the mask as to the face? Would you put artifice on a level with sincerity and confound appearance with reality? Would you pay the same respect to the phantom as to the figure? The same value on bad money as good? No. Men are odd creatures. The bounds of reason are too narrow for them. The noblest of dreams often suffers in their heads, for they will take things too far, brother. Carry things to the extreme. This brother, by the by.
Yes. You are, without doubt, a very reverent doctor. All the knowledge of the world lies under your cap. You are the only wise and discerning man, the oracle, the Cato of the present age. Why, all men compared to you are downright fools.
Well, no, brother, I am none of your reverend sages, neither is the whole of the world's knowledge vested in me. Yet I have wit enough to distinguish truth from falsehood, and as I see no character in life greater than to be truly devout, and nothing more beautiful than the fervor of a sincere piety, so I find nothing more abominable than the outside daubing of a pretended zeal. Those mountebanks, those devotees in show, who with sacrilegious grimace make jest of everything that is most venerable and sacred among men, those slaves of interest, who trade in godliness and precious honors and reputation with a hypocritical upturn of the eyes and affected transports. Well, those men, I say, who show an uncommon zeal for the next world, who try to make their fortune in this. They are passionate, revengeful, faithless, full of artifice, and to effect man's destruction, insolently urge their own private resentments in the name of heaven. Whose weapons they point against us are those which men revere, and whose passions prompt them to assassinate us with consecrated blade. There are too many of this vile character, brother, while the truly devout are easily known to us. Observe Aristo, Orontes, why Periander, Polydor, Clitander. This title is refused to them by nobody. These are not braggadocios in virtue. We see none of this insufferable haughtiness in their conduct. Their devotion it's humane and gentle, and they censure us not in all we do, for they see too much pride in these corrections, and leaving the fierceness of words to others, reprove our actions by their own, and never building upon the appearance of a fault, are always ready to judge favorably of others. They have no cabals, no intrigues to carry on. Their chief aim is to live themselves as they should do, and they never worry a poor sinner. No, their only quarrel is with the offense, and they ever exert a keener zeal for the interest of heaven than heaven itself does. These are the men for me. This is the example fit to be followed. No, your man is not of this stamp. You cry up his zeal out of a good intent, but I believe you're being imposed on by a very false loss. Sir?
Dear brother, have you done?
Yes.
Then I am your humble servant.
Pray, brother, one word more. You know you have promised to take Bella for your son-in-law,
Yes,
and have even appointed a day for this agreeable wedding.
true.
Why then do you put off the solemnity, sir?
I can't say.
Have you some other design in your head?
Perhaps so.
Will you break your word then?
Oh, I don't say that.
I can think there's no obstacle can hinder you from performing your promise.
That's as it happens.
Does the speaking of a single word require so much circumspection? Belair sent me to you about it.
Well, heaven be praised.
Pray, sir, what answer shall I return him?
What you will.
But 'tis necessary I should know your intentions, sir. Pray, what are they?
To do just what pleases heaven.
But to the point, sir. Belair has your promise. Do you stand to it? I don't know.
Brother, goodbye. Tea.
Oh, I am afraid Belair will meet with some misfortune in his love. Oh, I am afraid. I ought to inform him how matters go.
Marianne!
Father?
Ah! Oh, Marianne, come hither. I have something to say to you in private.
What are you looking for, sir?
Oh, I'm looking to see if anyone's there who might overhear us. This little place is fit for such a purpose. So, Marianne, I've always found you to be of sweet disposition, and you have always been very dear to me.
Oh, I'm very much obliged to you, sir, for your fatherly affection.
Well, 'tis well said, daughter, and to deserve it, your chief care should be to make me easy.
That is the height of my ambition.
Good. Then, what say you of, Tartuffe?
Who I?
Yes, you. Pray, take heed how you answer.
Lass, I'll say what you will of him.
Discreetly said, daughter. Then tell me, dear, that he's a very deserving person, that you like him, and that it would be agreeable, with my consent, of course, that you might have him as a husband, ha?
What?
What's that?
What said you?
What?
Did I mistake you?
How so?
Whom did you say I should like, sir, and should be glad to have with your approval for a husband?
Tartuffe.
I protest you, sir, there's nothing to it. Why would you
have me tell you such a story?
Well, I would have it be no such story. 'Tis enough that I have pitched upon him for you.
What would you say?
Aye, daughter. I propose, by this marriage, to join Tartuffe to my family. I have resolved upon it, and I have a right to... What business have you there? Your curiosity must be very great to bring you to listen in this manner.
In troth, sir, whether this report proceeds from conjecture or chance, I don't know. But they have just been telling me the news of this match, and, well, I have been making a very great jest of it.
Why? Is the thing so incredible?
So incredible that were you to tell me so yourself, I should not believe you.
I know how to make you believe it, though.
Aye, sir, you tell us a comical story.
No, I tell you just what will prove to be true in a short while.
Stuff.
Daughter, I assure you, I am not in jest.
Go, madame, do not believe your father. He does but joke.
I tell you.
No, 'tis in vain. Nobody will believe you.
My anger at length.
Well, we will believe you, sir. So much the worse on your side. For what reason would you go with that air of wisdom, that spacious head of yours, to choose to go as far as to the beggar for a...
Harky! You have taken certain liberties of late that I dislike. I tell you that, child.
Good sir, let us argue this affair calmly. We really must banter people by this scheme. Your daughter is not cut out for a bigot. He has other things to think on. And then what will such an alliance bring you in? For what reason would you go with all your wealth to choose a beggar for a son-in-law?
Oh, hold your tongue. Ha! If he has nothing, know that we ought to esteem him for it. His poverty is an honest poverty, which raises him above all grandeur, for he has suffered himself, in short, to be deprived of his fortune by his negligence of things temporal and his strong attachment to things eternal. And with my help he may be put in a way of getting out of trouble and recovering his own. As poor as he is a gentleman, and the estate he was born into is not inconsiderable.
Yeah, he says so. And this vanity, sir, does not very well suit with piety. He that embraces the simplicity of a holy life should not support this name and family so much. The humble procedure of devotion does but ill agree with the glare of ambition. To a purpose all this pride, but this talk offends you. So then let us lay aside this quality and speak to his person. Can you have the heart to fling away such a girl as this? Upon such a man as he? Should you not consult propriety and look a little forward to the consequences of such a union as this? Depend upon it, a young woman's virtue is in some danger when she isn't married to her mind. That her living virtuously depends in a great measure on the good qualities of her husband, and that those who people everywhere point at with the fingers to the forehead often make their wives what we find they are. 'Tis no easy task to be married to some sorts of husbands, and he that gives his daughter a man she hates is accountable to heaven for the slip she makes. Consider then what danger your design exposes you.
I tell you, she must learn from me what to do.
You could not do better with her than to follow my advice.
Daughter, let us not amuse ourselves with this silly stuff. I had indeed promised you to Molière, but besides 'tis reported he's given to play, I find him to be a little profligate. I don't observe that he frequents the church.
Would you have him run to church at your precise hours, as people do who go there only to be taken notice of?
I am not consulting you about it. Daughter, the other, in short, is a favorite of heaven, and that is beyond all other possessions. Why, this union will crown your wishes in every sort of good. Yes, it'll be one continuous scene of pleasure and delight. Oh. No, you'll live in faithful love together, really like two children, like two turtle doves. No unhappy debate will e'er rise between you, and you can make anything of him you can well desire.
See? She'll never make anything but a fool of him, I assure you.
Hey, what language?
I say he has the look of a fool, and his ascendant will overbear all the virtue your daughter has.
Have done with your interruptions. Learn to hold your peace, and do not put in your oar where you have nothing to do.
Nay, sir, I only speak for your good.
You're too officious. Hold your tongue.
For I have no love for you.
I desire none of your love.
Well, I will love you, sir, in spite of your teeth. I have your reputation much at heart, and can bear to see you made the subject of every gossip's tale.
So you're not done yet.
It would be a sin to make such an alliance as this.
Hold your tongue. Ah! You servant! Whose impudence!
Oh, what a devotee inclined to such a rage!
Yes, my choler is moved at this impertinence, and I'll be resolved. You shall hold your tongue!
Be it so. But though I don't speak a word, I don't think the less.
Ah, well, think as you wish, but take care not to say a syllable to me about it! Or else! Daughter, I have weighed all things as a wise man should.
It makes me mad that I should not speak now.
Tartuffe is, without foppery, a person so formed
Yes, it's a pretty face.
that if you had no great relish for his other qualifications...
You have a very fine bargain of him.
Were I in her place, though no man alive should marry me against my will, with impunity, I let him see soon after the ceremony was done that a wife has revenge always at hand.
So, what I say counts for nothing with you.
What do you complain of? I don't talk to you.
Oh, what is it you do then?
I talk to them.
Oh, you talk to them. Well, I shall have to tell them then that I shall have to give her a smack upside the head. Excuse me, daughter. To correct her prodigious insolence. Daughter, you must needs obey my design. And know that the husband that I have picked out for you, why dost thou not talk to them now?
I have nothing to say to them.
Really? One word more?
I've no mind to it.
Indeed, I watched you.
A downright fool of faith.
Daughter, in short, you must obey and show an entire deference for my choice.
I am going to the husband myself!
Oh. You have a pestilent hussy with you there, child, that I cannot live with any longer without sin. I'm in no condition to proceed at present. Her insolence has put my spirits into such a ferment. I must take to the air and recover myself a little.
Pray, have you lost your tongue? Must I play your part for you on this occasion? What, suffer a silly overture be made you without saying the least word against it?
But what you would do with a positive father?
Anything to word of such a menace!
What?
Why, tell him that hearts have no proxies, that you marry for yourself and not for him, that you, being the person for whom this whole affair is transacted, your inclinations for the man should be consulted, not his, and that if Tartuffe seems so lovely in his eyes, he may marry him himself without let or hindrance.
Father Ion has such a command over me that I didn't have the courage to make a reply.
But let us reason the case. Molière has made advances for you. Pray, do you love him or do you not?
Nay, you do injustice to my love, to question my affection. I do not reason after that. Have I not opened my heart to you 100 times on that matter? Now you shall treat to the wife of my passions. How do I know in your heart words keep pace together, without any particular regard for this lover or not?
Oh, you do me wrong, Doreen, to doubt it, and the sincerity of my sentiments has been but too plain.
So, you really love him then?
Aye, extremely.
And according to all appearances, he loves you as well.
I believe so.
And you do have a mutual desire to marry?
Assuredly.
What then is your expectation from this other match?
To kill myself if they force me to it.
Very good. That's a relief I did not think of. You need only to die to be rid of this perplexity. It is a wonderful remedy for certain.
So natty folks talk at this rate.
Bless me, Dorothy, what a humor you've gotten into. You have no compassion for people's afflictions.
I have no compassion for people who talk idly and give way in time of action as you do.
What would you have if one is timid?
But love requires a firmness of mind.
But have
if I wavered in my affections towards the lair? And is it not his business to gain me of my father?
But what? If your father be a downright humorist who is entirely bewitched with his Tartuffe and would forward a match that he had agreed upon, pray, is that your lover's fault?
But should I, by a flat and confident refusal, let the whole world know that I'm violently in love? Would you have me, for his sake, transgress the modesty of my sex and the balance of my duty? Would you have my passion become perfect down talk?
No, I don't want anything. I see if they'd have Mr. Tartuffe, and now that I think of it, I should be in the wrong to dissuade you from so considerable an alliance. What? To what purpose should I oppose your inclinations? The match is in itself too advantageous. Monsieur Tartuffe, oh, is this a trifling offer? If we take it rightly, he's no simpleton. The world has such prodigious value for him already. He is well-born, handsome in his person. He has a red ear and a very florid complexion. You'll, in short, be but too happy with such a husband.
Heavens!
You can't conceive what a joy it will be to you to be the consort of so fine a man.
Please give over this discourse and rather assist me with this match. 'Tis all over, I yield and would do what you will of me.
No, a daughter should do as she's bid, though her father would have her marry a monkey! Besides, what reason have you to complain? Yours is a benefit ticket. You'll be coached down to his own borough town, which you'll find abounds in cousins and uncles. It'll be very diverting to you to entertain them all. Then Madame Tartuffe will be directly introduced to the beau monde. You'll go visit by way of welcome the bailiff's lady and the assessor's wife. They'll do you the honor of the folding chair. At a good time, you may hope for a ball and a great consort. To it, 2 pair of bagpipes. And perchance you may see Mary Angie in the puppet show, if, however...
Oh, you kill me! Rather contrive than have me by your advice.
Your humble servant for that.
May your ring for heaven's sake!
No, it must be a match to punish you.
Dear Cartoon!
No.
If my perfections...
No, Tartuffe's your man, and you shall have a taste of him.
I've always confided in you be so good!
No, in troth, you shall be Tartuffed.
Well, if my misfortune cannot move you, henceforth leave me entirely to my despair. That shall lend my heart relief, and I know an infallible remedy for all of my sufferings. Here, come back!
Compassion on you for this.
You see, Doreen, you may expose me to this torment. It will certainly cost me my life.
Don't vex yourself. It may be easily prevented. See, here's your humble servant, Molière.
I was just now told an odd piece of news, madame, that I knew nothing of, and which to be sure is very pretty.
What's that?
That you are to be married to Tartuffe.
Sir, my father has such a design in his head.
Your father, madame.
Has altered his mind and has just been now making the proposal to me.
What? Seriously?
Aye, seriously. He's been declaring himself strenuously for the match.
And pray, what may be your determination in the affair?
I don't know.
The answer is honest. You don't know.
No.
No.
What would you advise me to?
I advise you to accept for him as a husband.
Is that your advice?
Yes.
In good earnest.
No doubt of it. The choice is good and well worth attending to.
Well, sir, I shall take your counsel.
You'll have no difficulty to follow it, I believe.
Hardly more than your counsel gave you.
I gave it, madame, to please you.
And I shall follow it to do you a pleasure.
So let's see what this will come to.
Is this then your affection? And was it all deceit when you were...
Pray, let's talk no more of that. You told me frankly to accept the offer made me, and I tell you I shall do so, only because you advised it to me as best.
Don't excuse yourself upon my intentions. Your resolution was made before, and you now lay hold of a frivolous pretense for the breaking of your word.
'Tis true, it's well said.
Doubtless. And you never had any true love for me.
Alas, you may think so if you please.
Yes, may think so, but my offended heart may chance to be beforehand with you in that affair, and I can tell where to offer both my addresses and my hand.
'Tis very well, the warmth that merit raises.
Alack a day! Let us drop merit. I have little enough of that. You may think so, but I hope another will treat me in a kinder manner. And I know a person whose heart, open to my retreat, will not be ashamed to make up the loss.
Oh, the loss is not great.
and you shall be comforted upon this change easily enough.
You may believe I shall do all that lies in my power. A heart that forgets us engages our glory, and we must take our utmost care to forget it too. And if we don't, we must at least pretend we do, for to show regard for one that forsakes us is a meanness one cannot answer to oneself.
A sentiment certainly noble and sublime.
Very well, and what everyone must approve of. What, would you have me languish for you forever, see you fly into the arms of other men before my face, and not transfer my slighted affections somewhere else?
So far from that. 'Tis what I would have, and I wish it were done already.
You wish it done?
Yes.
That's insulting me sufficiently, madame. I am just going to give you that satisfaction.
'Tis very well.
Be pleased to remember that 'tis yourself that drive me to this extremity,
Yes.
and that the design I have conceived is only from your example.
My example be it.
Enough! You shall soon be punctually obeyed!
So much the better.
'Tis the last time I shall ever trouble you!
With all my heart.
Hey,
What?
didn't you call me?
Why? You dream, sure.
Very well, I'll be gone. Farewell, madame.
Fare ye well, sir.
I think, for my part, by this piece of extravagance, you both lost your senses. I've let you alone this long squabbling to see what ends you'd make of it. Harkee, Mr. Molière.
What would you have?
Come hither.
No, no! My indignation overpowers me! Don't hinder me from doing as she would have me!
Stay.
No, no! I'm resolved upon it!
He's uneasy at the sight of me. My presence rather drives him away. I should rather therefore leave the place entirely.
What the other? Whither do you run?
Let me go!
You must go back.
Nail to me, you stay your home mate.
I see that my presence is but a plague to her. I'd better free her from it.
What, again? Just take it from me. Leave this building and come hither, both of you.
What's your design?
What would you do? To set you to the rights again and bring you out of this scrape. Aren't you mad to wrangle at this rate?
Didn't you hear how she spoke to me?
Weren't you a simpleton to be in such a passion?
Didn't you see the thing
And how he treated me! Folly on both sides! Look, she has nothing more at heart than to be one to be yours. I am witness to it. He has no other ambition than to become your husband. I can support upon my life.
Why then did you give me such advice?
And why was I consulted upon such a subject?
You're a couple of fools? Calm your hands, both of you.
What will my hand do?
Yours.
What purpose is all this? You love each other better than you think of. In troth, lovers are silly creatures.
And now, do I not have room to complain of you? And without lies, were you not a wicked creature to gratify yourself in saying a thing so very shocking to me?
How are you not the most ungratefullest man in the world?
Come, let's adjourn this debate till another time and think how to ward off this plaguey wedding.
See what engine shall we set to work?
We'll set them every way to work. Your father's in jest. It must be nothing but talk. But for your part, your best way will be to carry out the appearance of a gentle compliance with his extravagance. That so, in case of an alarm, you may have it more easily in your power to delay the marriage proposed. In gaining time, we shall remedy everything. Sometimes you may fob him off with some illness, which is to come all of a sudden and will require delay. Sometimes you may fob him off with ill omens. You unluckily met a corpse, broke a looking glass, dreamed dirty water. And the best on it is, they can't possibly join you to any other but him unless you please to say yes. But the proper to carry out the design, I think it proper you should not be seen conferring together. Go you immediately and employ your friends that he may be forced to keep his word with you. Let us go engage the brother in our endeavors and engage the stepmother in our party. Adieu!
Whatever efforts any of us may be preparing, my greatest hope, to say the truth, is in you.
I can't speak for the inclinations of a father, but I shall be none but Molière's.
Oh, how you transport me. And though I durst...
These lovers are never weary of rattling away, I tell you!
Once more.
No! What is back is yours! Run you off this way! And you, the other! Go!
Farewell, my love.
No!
I will see you soon.
execution.
Well, I must bust out with this fool's plans and tell him a word through in his ear.
Gently, Ray. Put your stepmother alone with him as well as with your father. She has some credit with Tartuffe. He is mighty complacent to all she says, and perhaps he may have a sneaking kindness for her. I were to heaven it were true. That would be charming. In short, your interest obliges her to send for him. She has a mind to sound his intentions with regard to the wedding that disturbs you, and to represent to him the fatal feuds he will surely raise in the family if he entertains any hopes of this affair. Now, his man says that he's at prayers and I could not see him, but this servant told me it would not be long before he came down, so pray be God and let me stay for him.
I may be present at this whole conference.
They must be by themselves.
I shall say nothing to him.
You are mistaken. We know the usual patience of your temper, and it's the right way to spoil all. Get away!
No. I shall see him without putting myself in a passion.
Troublesome you are. He's coming. Quick!
Lawrence, lock up my haircloth and scourge and beg of heaven ever to enlighten you with grace. If anybody comes to see me, I'm gone to the prisons to distribute my alms.
Affectation and roguery.
Now, what do you want?
To tell you that my
Oh,
lady...
lackaday, pray take me this handkerchief before you speak.
What for?
Cover that bosom, which I can't bear to see. Such objects hurt the soul and usher in sinful thoughts.
You mightily melt then at a temptation, and the flesh makes such great impression upon your senses. Truly, I don't know what heat may inflame you, but for my part, I am not so apt to hanker. I can see you stark naked from head to foot, and that whole hide of yours not tempt me at all.
Pray, speak with a little modesty, or I'll leave you this minute.
No. Says I'm going to leave you to yourself, and I only have 2 words to say to you. My lady is coming down into this parlor, and desires the favorite word with you.
Well, that with all my heart.
Oh, sweet, he grows upon it. I still stand to what I said of him.
Will she come presently?
I think I hear her. Ah, yes, she herself. I leave you together.
May heaven of its goodness ever bestow upon you health both of body and of mind, and bless your days equal to the wish of the lowest of its votaries.
I am much obliged to you for this pious wish, but let us take a seat to be more at ease.
Do you find your indisposition anything abated?
Very well. My fever soon left me.
My prayers have not sufficient merit to have drawn down this favor from above, but I made no vows to heaven that do not concern your recovery.
Your zeal for me was too solicitous.
Your dear health cannot be overrated, and to reestablish it, I could have sacrificed my own.
That is carrying Christian charity a great way, and I am highly indebted to you for all this goodness.
I do much less for you than you deserve.
I had a desire to speak with you in private on a certain matter, and I'm glad that nobody observes us here.
I also am overjoyed at it. Be sure, madame, this can be no ordinary satisfaction to find myself alone with you. There's an opportunity I've hitherto petitioned heaven for in vain.
What I want to talk with you upon is a small thing in which your whole heart must be open and hide nothing from me.
And for this singular favor, I certainly shall unbosom myself to you without reserve. And I protest that the stir I made about the visits paid here to your charms were not out of hatred to you, but rather out of a passionate zeal which induced me to it, and out of a pure motive.
For my part, I believe 'tis my good that gives you this concern.
Yes, madame, without doubt. And such is the fervor of my...
You squeeze me too hard.
'Tis out of an excess of zeal. I never intended to hurt you. I'd much rather...
What does your hand do there?
Well, I'm only feeling your clothes, madame. The stuff is mighty rich.
Pray, give over. I am very ticklish.
Oh, bless me. How wonderful is the workmanship of this lace. They work to a miracle nowadays. Things of all kinds were never better done.
'Tis true. But let us speak to our small matter a little. They say that my husband has a mind to set aside his promise and give you his daughter. Is that true? Pray, tell me.
He did hint something towards it. But, madame, that is not the happiness I sigh after. I behold elsewhere the wonderful attractions of the felicity which engages every wish of mine.
That is, you love no earthly things.
My breast does not enclose a heart of flint.
I am apt to think that your sighs tend all to heaven, and that nothing here below could detain your desires.
The love which engages us to eternal beauties does not extinguish in us the love of temporal ones. Our senses are easily charmed by the perfect works heaven has formed, and its reflected charm shine forth in such as you. But in your person, oh, it displays its choicest wonders. It has diffused such beauties o'er your face as surprise the eye and transport the heart. Nor could I behold you, perfect creature, without admiring in you the author of nature, and feeling my heart touched with an ardent love at the sight of the fairest portraits when its lineage itself. At first, I was under apprehensions that this secret flame might be a dexterous surprise of the foul fiend. My heart even resolved to avoid your eye, believing you an obstacle to my future happiness. But at length I perceived, most lovely beauty, that my passion could not be blamable. That I could reconcile it with modesty, and this made me abandon my heart to it. It is, I confess, a very great presumption in me to make you the offer of this heart. But in my vow, I rely wholly on your goodness and not on anything in my own weak power. In you center my hope, my happiness, my quiet. On you depends my heartache and my bliss, and I am on the point of being, by your sole decision, happy if you will, or miserable if you please.
The declaration is extremely gallant, but to say the truth, it is a good deal surprising. Methinks you ought to have fortified your mind better and to have reasoned a little upon a design of this nature. A devotee as you are, whom everyone speaks of.
Being a devotee does not make me the less a man. When one comes to view your celestial charms, oh, the heart surrenders and reasons no more. I know this language for me, madame, may seem somewhat strange, but after all, I'm not an angel. And if you condemn this declaration I make, you must lay the blame upon your attractive charms. And from the moment I first laid eyes upon your more than human splendor, you became the sovereign of my soul. And if you will contemplate with some benignity of soul the tribulations of your unworthy slave, if your goodness will grant me consolation and deign to debase itself so low as my nothingness, I will ever entertain for you, miracle of sweetness, a devotion that nothing can equal. All those courtly gallants the ladies are so fond of, we see they are vain in what they say. They are ever vaunting of their success, and their indiscreet tongues which people confide in, while they dishonor the altar on which their hearts offer sacrifice. But men of our sort burn with a discreet flame, with whom a secret is sure to remain such. And it is with us, when they accept of our hearts, that they enjoy love without scandal, and pleasure without fear.
I hear what you say, and your rhetoric explains itself to me in terms sufficiently strong. Don't you apprehend that I may take a fancy now to acquaint my husband with this gallantry of yours, and that an early account of an amour of this sort might pretty much alter his present affections towards you?
I know that you are too good, and that you will rather pardon my temerity, and that you will excuse me on account of human frailty the sallies of a passion which offend you, and that you will consider when you consult your glass that a man is not blind and is made of flesh and blood.
Some might take it perhaps in a different manner, but I shall show my discretion and not tell my husband of it. But in return, I will have one thing of you, that is honestly and sincerely to forward the match between Molière and Marianne, and that you yourself renounce the unjust power by which you hope to be enriched with what belongs to another. Anne!
No! No. This ought to be made public. See, I was in this place. I never heard it all, and the goodness of heaven seems to have been found in me. To direct me to found the pride of a traitor that wrongs me, to undeceive my father, and show him in a clear light the soul of a villain that speaks to you of love, to open me a way to take vengeance of his hypocrisy and insolence.
No, to me, 'tis enough that he reforms and endeavors to deserve the favor I do him, since I have promised. Don't make me break my word. 'Tis not my humor to make a noise. A wife will make herself merry with such follies, and never trouble her husband's ears with them.
Oh. You have your reasons for using him in that manner. And I have mine too, friend, and otherwise. To spare him, it would be ridiculous. The insolent pride of this Beatrice but too long triumph for this my resentment, and created too many disorders once already. The rascals but too long from my father, and oppose my passage as well as. 'Tis fit the entirely rest should be open to him in this manner. Oh, and heaven for the purpose offers me an easy way to do it. I am bravely endeavored to with the opportunity of mine. It is too favorable one to be neglected, and I should deserve that it came from me. Now that I have it, should I not make use of it?
To me.
No. By your leave, I must take my own counsel. My heart overflows with joy, and all you could say would in vain dissuade me from the pleasure of avenging myself. Without going any farther, I shall put an end to the affair. And here's just what will give me satisfaction. We are going to entertain you, sir, with an adventure sprinting span new, which will very much surprise you. But you are greatly rewarded for all of your caresses. And this gentleman... This gentleman may take fine acknowledgement of your tenderness. His great zeal for you is just own delight. It aimed at nothing else than the dishonor of your bed. And I took him here, making an injurious declaration of a criminal love to your wife. She is good-natured, and her over-great discretion would have by all means kept the secret. But I can't encourage this impudence, and think that not to apprise you would be to do you an injury.
Yes, I am of the opinion that one ought not break in upon a husband's rest with such idle stuff, that our honor can by no means depend upon it, and that 'tis enough we know how to defend ourselves. These are my thoughts of the matter, and you would have said nothing to me if I had any credit with you.
Heavens! What have I heard? Is this credible?
Yes, brother.
I am a guilty, wretched, wicked sinner, full of iniquity, the greatest villain that ever breathed. Every instant of my life is crowded with stains, 'tis one continued series of crimes and defilements. And I see that heaven, for my punishment, designs to mortify me on this occasion. Whatever great offense they may lay to my charge, I will have more humility than to deny it. Believe what they tell you. Arm your resentment like a criminal, drive me out of your house. I cannot have so great a share of shame, but I have deserved still much larger. Oh.
Traitor! Darest thou by this falsehood attempt to tarnish the purity of his virtue? What?
Shall the feigned weakness of his hypocritical zeal make you give the
Thou
lie?
cursed plague, hold thy tongue!
Let him speak. You tried him wrongfully. You'd much better believe what he tells you. Why so favorable to me upon such a fact? Do you know, after all, what I may be capable of? Do you, my brother, can you depend upon my outside? Do you think me the better for what you see of me? Oh, no, you suffer yourself to be deceived by appearances, for I am no better, or worse, alas, than these people think of me. The world, 'tis true, takes me for a very good man, but the truth is, I'm a very worthless creature. Yes, my dear child, say on. Call me treacherous, infamous, reprobate, thief, and murderer. Load me with names still more detestable on that gainsay you. I have deserved them all, and am willing, on my knees, to suffer the shame and the ignominy due to the enormities of my life.
This is too much, brother. That does not thy heart relent, traitor.
Shall his words so far deceive you as to...
Hold thy tongue, rascal! For heaven's sake, brother, rise. You infamous wretch!
He did...
Hold your tongue.
It's intolerable. What do I take it for?
Say one word more, and I'll break thy bones.
For heaven's sake, brother, don't be angry. I'd much rather suffer any hardship than he should get the slightest hurt on my account.
Oh, ungrateful monster!
Oh, leave him be. If I must on my knees beg forgiveness for him.
Alas! Oh, this is too much. See his goodness, Sirrah!
Then...
That done.
He was
done.
I said
done.
he was gonna go down on her door.
Peace, I say. I know what turned you against him well enough. Ye all hate him. And I now see, son, what they all let loose against him. They impudently try every way to remove this devout man from me. But the more they strive to get him out, the greater care will I take to keep him in. And therefore, will I hasten his marriage with my daughter to confound the pride of the entire family.
Oh, and you expect her to accept of him?
Yes, traitor, and this very evening, to plague you. Nay, I defy you all, and shall let you know that I am master, and will be obeyed. Yes, come immediately. Throw yourself at his feet, and beg his pardon.
What? I am this rascal! Like his impostures!
What? Scoundrel! You rebel and call names? I cudgel there! I cudgel! Don't hold me! Get you out of this house this minute, and don't dare come back into it again!
Yes. I shall go.
What? Quickly then, leave this place! No, I disinherit thee! And give thee my curses besides! Oh, to offend a holy man in such a manner!
Pardon the anguish it gives me. Could you know what a grief it is to me that they should try to blacken me with my dear brother?
Lack a day!
Oh, the very thought of this ingratitude wounds me to the quick. Oh, Lord, the horror. My heart so full I can't speak. I think I shall outlive it.
Oh, villain! I'm sorry my hand spared and did not make an end of thee on the spot. Oh, brother, compose yourself and don't be troubled.
Let us by all means put an end to the course of these unhappy debates. I see what uneasiness I occasion here, and think, brother, there's a necessity of my leaving your house.
What? You're not in earnest, sure.
Oh, but they hate me, and seek, I see, to bring my integrity into question with you.
What signifies that? Did you see me listening to them?
Oh, they shan't stop there, you may be sure. And those very stories you now reject may one day meet with more credit.
Oh, no, brother, never.
Brother, a wife may deceive a husband.
No!
Oh, suffer me by removing hence immediately, to remove from them all occasion of attacking me in this manner.
No! You must stay, or it'll cost me my life.
Very well, if I must mortify myself. Oh, but if you would, however...
Yeah?
Be it so. Let's talk no more about it.
Okay.
But... I know how I must behave on this occasion. Honor is delicate, and friendship obliges me to prevent reports, and not to give any room for suspicion. But, I'll shun your wife and not be seen anywhere near.
No! You will frequently be with her. To vex the world is my greatest joy, and I'll have you seen with her at all hours. And that's not all yet. No. The better to brave them. I'll have no other heir but you. And I'm going forthwith to sign you a deed of gift for my whole estate. Oh, a true and hearty friend that I fix on for a son-in-law is far dearer to me than son, wife, or kindred. You won't refuse what I propose?
Heaven's will be done in all things.
Oh, the poor man Come, let's get the writings drawn up, and then let envy burst itself with spite.
In 2 words, my thoughts on the matter. And I shan't inquire into the ground of what's been reported. Who pass that by and take the thing at worst? Who supposed to me has not used you well, and they have accused you wrongfully? Is it not the part, sir, of a good Christian to pardon the offence and extinguish from his heart all desire for vengeance? Ought you to suffer a son to be turned out of his father's house on account of your differences? For I'll tell you once, and I'll tell you frankly, there's neither great nor small but are scandalized at it. And if you'll take my advice, you'll make all up and not push matters to extremity. Sacrifice your resentment to your duty, sir, and restore the son to his father's favor.
Lassie, I would do it with all my heart. I, sir, bear him not the least ill will. I forgive him everything. I lay nothing to his charge and would serve him with all my soul. But the interests of heaven cannot admit of it. And if he comes in here again, I must go out. After such an unparalleled action, it would be scandalous for me to have anything to do with him. Heaven knows what all the world would immediately think on't. Why, they would impute it to pure policy in me,
And people would everywhere say that knowing myself guilty, I pretended a charitable zeal for my accuser, and that, dreading him at heart, I would practice upon him that I might underhand engage him to silence.
Oh, you put us off here, sir, with sham excuses. And your reasons are too far-fetched. Why do you take upon you the interests of heaven? Has it any occasion for our assistance in punishing the guilty? No. Leave the care of its own vengeance to itself, and think only of that pardoning of the offences which it prescribes. Have no regard for the judgment of men when following the sovereign orders of heaven. What do the paltry interests of what people may believe hinder the glory of good action? No! Let us always do as heaven prescribes, sir, and perplex our heads with no other care.
I have told you already that I forgive him from my heart, and that is doing, sir, what heaven prescribes. And after the scandal and affront of today, heaven does not require me to live with him.
And does it require you, sir, to lend an ear to what mere caprice dictates to the father, and to accept of an estate whereby justice obliges you to make no claims?
Nobody that knows me would ever have the thought that this was the effect of an interested spirit. All the world's riches have few charms for me. I am not dazzled by their false glare. And should I choose to accept this present that the Father has a mind to make me, well, to tell you the truth, it is only because I'm afraid that this means will fall into wicked hands, lest it should come amongst such as will make an ill use on't in the world, and not lay it out as I intend to do, for the glory of heaven and the good of my neighbour.
Oh, entertain none of these very nice scruples, sir, which might occasion complaint of a right heir. Let him, without giving yourself any trouble, keep his estate at his own peril, and consider it be better that he misuse it than that people should accuse you of depriving him of it. I only wonder how you can accept such a proposal without confusion. For in truth, has true zeal any maxim which shows how to strip an heir of his lawful right? And if it must be that heaven has put in your heart an invincible obstacle to living with Demi, would it not be better, sir, as a man of prudence, to retire from hence than to suffer the eldest son to be turned out of doors? For you, believe me, sir.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, is it 3:30 already? Oh, certain devotions call me up upstairs, and, well, you'll forgive me for leaving you so soon. Bye.
No. For goodness sake, let him resist as you can, as we do! She's the greatest reflections, you're unimaginable! The articles are from the house being glued for tonight, Howard, every moment, ready to despair! Jesus coming to me, let us not him in a body and try, let him force your coming! They're supposed to be looking at each other as put us over this consternation!
I'm glad to find you all together. I bring something in this contract that'll make you smile. I think you already know what it means.
Oh, sir, in the name of heaven, that is a witness to my grief. By everything that can move your heart, forgo a little of the right nature has given you as my father, and release me of this contract. Don't compel me to complain to heaven of the duty I owe you. Do not, my father, render the life which you have given me unbearable. If, contrary to the tender hopes I might have formed for myself, you would allow me to be Valaire's, whom I presume to love, at least out of your goodness, which upon my knees I implore, save me the torment of being the man I abhor, and drive me not to despair by exerting your full power over me.
Come, still my heart, and no human weakness.
Your tenderness for him gives me no uneasiness. Show it in the strongest manner. Give him your estate, and if that's not enough, add all of mine to it as well. But do not go so far as to my person. I would rather suffer a convent with all of its austerities to wear at the mournful days allotted to me by heaven.
This is exactly how a daughter behaves when a father crosses her wanton inclinations. Get up, get up. The more it goes against you, the more you'll merit by it. Mortify your senses by this marriage, and don't din me in the head anymore about it. Hold your tongue. Speak to your own concerns. I absolutely forbid you to open your lips.
If you would indulge me, sir, in answer, to give one word of advice.
Brother, your advice is the best in the world. 'Tis very rational and what I have a great value for. But you must not take it ill if I don't use it now.
Seeing what I see, I don't know what to say. I can but wonder at your blindness. You must be mightily bewitched and prepossessed in his favor to give us the lie upon the fact of today.
I'm your humble servant, but I believe appearances. I know your complaisance for my rascal of a son, and you were too afraid to disavow the trick he would have played the poor man. You were, in a word, too little ruffled to be given credit. You would have appeared to have been moved after a different manner.
Is it requisite that our honor should bluster so vehemently at the simple declaration of an amorous transport? Can there be no reply made to what offends us without fury in our eyes and invectives in our mouth? For my part, I only laugh at such overtures, and the rout made about them by no means pleases me. I love that we should show our discretion with good nature, and cannot, like your savage prudes, whose honor is armed with teeth and claws, and is for tearing a man's eyes out for a word speaking. Heaven preserve me from such discretion. I would have virtue that is not diabolical, and believe a denial given with discreet coldness is no less powerful to give the lover a rebuff.
In short, I know the whole affair, and shall not alter my scheme.
I admire still more at your unaccountable weakness. But what answer could your incredulity make should one let you see they told you the truth?
See?
Aye.
Stuff.
But how? Should I contrive a way to let you see it in a very clear light?
A likely story indeed.
What a strange man. At least give me an answer. I don't speak of your giving credit to us, but suppose a place could be found where you might see and overhear all. What would you say then of your good man?
Well, in that case, I would say, nothing, for the thing can't be.
You have been too long deluded, and too long have taxed me with imposture. 'Tis necessary that by way of diversion, and without going any farther, we shall make you witness to all they told you.
Do so. We shall see your address and how you make good on your promise.
Bid him come to me.
He has a crafty soul of his own, and perhaps it would be a difficult matter to surprise him.
No. People are easily duped by what they love, and self-love helps them to deceive themselves. Call him down to me, and do you retire. Now do you come and get under this table.
Why so?
It is a necessary point that you be well concealed.
Yes, but why under this table?
A day do as I have you. I have my design in my head, and you shall be judge of it. Place yourself there, I tell you, and while you are there, take care that no one either sees nor hears you.
I must needs say I am very complaisant, but we shall see you go through your enterprise.
You will have nothing, I believe, to reply me. However, as I'm going to touch upon a strange affair, don't be shocked by any means. Anything I say must be allowed me, as it is to convince you, according to my promise. I am going by coaxing speeches, since I am reduced to it, to make this hypocritical soul drop the mask, to flatter the impudent desires of his love, and show full scope of his boldness. Since 'tis for your sake alone, and to confound him, I feign compliance with his desires, I may give over when you appear, and things need go no farther than you would have them. It lies on you to stop his mad pursuit when you think matters are carried far enough to spare your wife, not expose me any farther than is necessary to disabuse you. This is your interest. It concludes at your discretion, and close and take it out of him.
I was told you desired to speak with me here.
Yes. I have secrets to discover you. But pull to that door before I tell them you, and look about for fear of a surprise. We must not surely make such a business of it as the other was just now. I never was in such surprise in my whole life. Demi put me into a terrible fright for you. And you saw very well I did my utmost to baffle his designs and moderate his passion. I was under so much concern, 'tis true, I had not the thought of contradicting him. But thanks to heaven, everything is the better for that. And things are put upon a sure footing. The esteem you are in laid that storm, and my husband can have no suspicion of you. Better still, to set the rumor of ill tongues at defiance, he desires we should always be together. And from thence, it is without fear of blame I can be locked up with you here, alone. And this is what justifies me in laying open to you a heart a little perhaps too forward in admitting of your passion.
This language, madame, is difficult enough to comprehend. You talked in another kind of style, but just now.
Oh, alas, if such a refusal disobliges you, how little you know the heart of a woman. Oh, and how little you know what it means when we make so meager a defense. Our modesty will always combat in these moments those tender sentiments you may inspire us with. Whatever the reason we find for the passion that subdues us, we will always be a little ashamed to own it. We defend ourselves at first, but by the air with which we go about it, we give you sufficiently to know that our heart surrenders, our words oppose our wishes for the sake of honor, and that such refusals can, eventually, promise everything. This is without doubt making a very free confession to you with regard little to the modesty that belongs to us, but in short, since the word has slipped me, would I have been so bent upon restraining Demi? Would I have taken the thing, as you saw I did, the offer of your heart, and had nothing in it to please me? And when I myself would have forced you to refuse the proposed match, this should have given you to understand the interest one was inclined to take in you, and the pain it would have caused me that the knot resolved on should at least divide a heart which I wanted wholly for my own.
'Tis no doubt, madame, an extreme pleasure to hear these words from the lips one loves. All their honey plentifully diffuses through every sense, a sweetness I have never before tasted. My sole study is the happiness of pleasing you, and my heart counts your affection its beatitude. But you must excuse this heart, madame, if it presumes to doubt a little of its felicity. I can fancy these words to be only a sort of artifice to make me break off the match that's upon the conclusion. And if I may with freedom explain myself to you, I shall not rely on so tender language till some of those favors which I sigh after assure me of the sincerity of what is said and fix in my mind a firm belief of the transporting goodness you intend me.
Proceed so fast! You will exhaust the tenderness of one's heart all at once. When one does violence to oneself, making you the most melting declaration, but this is not enough for you, and one cannot advance so far as to satisfy you unless one pushes the affair to the last favors.
The less one deserves a blessing, the less one presumes to hope for it. Our love can hardly have a full reliance upon discourses. One easily suspects a condition full fraught with happiness, and one would enjoy it before one believes it. For my particular, who know I so little deserve your favors, I doubt the success of my rashness, and shall believe nothing, madame, till by realities you have convinced my passion.
Good luck, how your love plays the very tyrant! Ahem! And what a strange confusion it throws me into. With what furious way does it govern the heart? With what violence it pushes for what it desires? What is there no pity? Clear of your so great rigor, to insist on what one demands without quarter, to pursue in this manner, by your pressing efforts, the foible you see people have for you.
But if you regard my addresses with a favorable eye, why do you refuse me convincing proofs of it?
But how can one comply with one's desires without offending this heaven which you are always talking of?
Oh, if nothing but heaven obstructs my wishes, 'tis a trifle with me to remove such an obstacle, and that need be no restraint upon your love.
But they so terrify us with the judgments of heaven.
Yes, I can dissipate those ridiculous terrors for you, madame. I have the knack of easing scruples. Heaven, 'tis true, forbids certain gratifications, but then there are ways of compounding those matters. It is a science to stretch the strings of conscience according to the different exigencies of the case, and to rectify the immorality of the action by the purity of our intentions. These are secrets, madame, I can instruct you in. You have nothing to do but passively to be conducted. Satisfy my desire and fear nothing. I'll answer for you and take the sin upon myself. You cough very much, madame.
Just a cold, I'm double vaxxed.
Well, will you please take some licorice or...
'Tis an obstinate cold, without doubt, and I am satisfied that all the licorice in the world will do no good in this case.
Oh, it is very troublesome to be sure.
Aye, more than one can express.
In short, your scruple, madame, is easily overcome. You are sure that being an inviolable secret here, and the harm never consists in anything but the noise one makes. The scandal of the world is in the offense, and sinning in private is no sinning at all.
In short, I see I must resolve to yield. And that I must consent to grant you everything. Now, with less than this, you ought not be satisfied or give over. It is indeed very hard to go to this length, but since you are obstinately bent upon reducing me to it, and since you won't believe anything that can be said, but still insist on more convincing testimony, one must e'en resolve upon it and satisfy people. And if this gratification carries any offense in it, so much worse for him who forces me to it. The fault certainly ought not to be laid at my door.
Yes, madame, I take it upon myself, and the thing in itself.
Oh! Open the door a little, and pray, look if my husband be not in that gallery.
Your husband? What need you take such care for him? Betwixt us two, he's a man to be led by the nose. He will take a pride in all of our conversations. I have brought him up to the point of seeing everything and believing nothing.
That signifies nothing. Pray, go out a little, and look carefully all about. Carefully. Yeah.
An abominable man, I vow. I can't recover myself. This perfectly stuns me.
Oh, do you come out so soon? You make fools of people. Get under the table, stay to the last to see things sure, and don't trust to bare conjectures.
No, nothing more wicked ever came from hell.
Dear heart, you must not believe too lightly. Suffer yourself to be fully convinced before you yield, and don't be too hasty for fear of a mistake.
Everything conspires, madame, to my satisfaction. I have surveyed the entire apartment. Nobody's there. And my ravished soul.
Ah, gently! Gently! You are too eager in your amours. You should not be so furious. Aha, good man! You intended me a crest, I suppose. Good lack! How you abandon yourself to temptations. What? What? You marry my daughter and have a huge stomach for my wife? Oh, I was for a long while in doubt whether all was in good earnest and always thought you would change your tone. But this is pushing the proof far enough. I'm satisfied and want for my part no further convictions.
The part I have played was contrary to my inclination, but circumstances reduced me to treating you in this manner.
Well, yeah, but do you believe?
Come, no noise. You must turn out, and without ceremony.
Well, my design.
Have done.
Have
done.
Can I
have
just?
done.
I
Have done. These speeches are no longer in season. You must troop off forthwith.
'Tis you must troop off forthwith. You speak so magisterially. The house is mine, and I'll make you know it. I shall plainly show you that you have recourse in vain to these base tricks to pick a quarrel with me. That you do not think where you are when you injure me. That I have the wherewithal to confound and punish imposture, avenge offended heaven, and make them repent it who talk here, turning me out of doors. Ha! Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha!
What language is this, and what can it mean?
In truth, I'm all confusion and have no room to laugh.
How so?
Oh, I see my fault by what he says, and this deed of gift perplexes me.
Deed of gift?
Aye, 'tis done. But there's something else that bothers me too.
And what's that?
You shall know the whole. But let's go immediately and see if there's a certain a bag above the stairs. Alas, how can I tell?
Well, I think we ought. The first thing we do is to consult together what might be done at this juncture.
This bag entirely perplexes me. It gives me more vexation than all the rest.
This bag then is of some mystery, of importance.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
It is a deposit that Argus, my lamented friend himself, committed as a great secret to my keeping. When he fled, he pitched upon me for this purpose, and these are the papers wherein he told me his life and fortune depend.
Why then did you trust them in another's hands?
Oh, merely out of a scruple of conscience. I went straight to impart the secret to Tartuffe, and his cunningness over-persuaded me rather to give him the bag to keep, so that to deny it in case of an inquiry, I might have the relief of a subterfuge ready at hand, whereby my conscience would be very secure in taking an oath contrary to the truth.
You're in a very bad situation, to say the least. And both this deed of gift and the trust reposed are steps which you have taken very unwisely. One may carry you to great lengths by such a pledge. And this fellow, having an advantage over you, it would be very imprudent of you to provoke him. You ought to think of some gentler method.
What? Under the fair appearance of such affectionate zeal, to conceal such a double heart, and a soul so wicked? And then I, who took him in, poor and indigent. Nay, 'tis over. I renounce all pious folks, shall henceforth have an utter abhorrence for them, and shall be for their sake worse than a devil.
Oh, well, here are some of your extravagances. You never show a moderate temper in anything. Right reason and yours are very different. You're always throwing yourself out of one extreme and into another. You see your mistake and are conscious you've been imposed on by a hypocritical, duped by a charlatan. But why make a worse mistake and see no difference between this perfidious, worthless wretch and those of all honest people? Distinguish between virtue and the appearance of it, and if you must fall into one extreme, rather offend again on the other side.
What?
Good God.
Sir, is it true that Russell threatens you, and that he has quite forgotten every favor he has received, and that his base, abominable pride arms your own goodness against yourself?
Yes, son, and It gives me inconceivable vexation.
Let me alone with him. I'll slice his ears off. There's no doubting with an insolence as his. I'll undertake to rid you of yours at once and put an end to the affair. I must do his business for him.
That's spoken exactly like a young fellow. Now, please, moderate these violent transports. We live in an age and under a government in which violence is but a bad way to promote our affairs.
What's all this? I hear terrible mysteries here.
These are the novelties, Mother, that I am an eyewitness to. You see how finely I am fitted for my care? I kindly take in a fellow in misery. I entertain him and treat him like my own brother. I heap daily favors on him. I give him my whole fortune. Oh, and my daughter. And at the same time, the perfidious, infamous wretch forms the black design of seducing my wife. And not content with those base attempts, he would dare menace me with my own favors and use these to my advantages, which my too indiscreet good nature put into his hands, to throw me from my own estate, which I gave over to him, and reduce me to that condition from which I rescued him.
The poor man.
I can never believe, son, that he could commit so black an action. Shoot, go on, get out of it.
What?
Good people are always envied.
What would you, Mother, insinuate by this discourse?
Why, that there are strange doings going on at your house, and the ill will that they bear him is all but too evident.
What has this ill will to do with what's been told you?
Why, I have told you 100 times since you were a little one that virtue here is persecuted. Ever sing along. Envious men may die, but envy never see.
Yes, but what is all this to the present purpose?
Why, they have trumped up 100 idle stories against him.
Yeah, but Mother, I told you already. I saw it all my own self.
The malice of scandal mongers is very great.
You make me swear, Mother. I tell you, I saw with my own eyes a crime so audacious.
Tongues never want for venom to spit. Nothing here below can be proof against him.
This is having a very senseless argument. I tell you, Mother, I saw it, I say. Saw it. With my own eyes. I saw it. What you call saw. It. Must I din it in your head 100 times and honk as loud as 7 geese? Honk, 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 honk.
Dear heart, appearances very often deceive us. You must not judge by what you see.
Oh, I shall run mad.
Nature is liable to false suspicion, and good is often misconstrued as evil.
Oh, ought to I construe charitably his desire of kissing my wife?
You ought not judge anybody but upon good grounds, and you should have stayed till you had seen the thing certain.
Oh, what the devil, Mother? How much more certain can I be? What, I should have stayed until he had
In short, his soul burns with too pure a flame. I cannot let it enter my head he could commit the things laid to his charge.
Oh, go! I don't know what I would say to you if you were not my mother. My passion is so great.
The just return of things here below. Time was you would believe nobody, and now you can't be believed yourself.
We're wasting time in mere trifles, which should be spent in taking measures. We shouldn't sleep when an ape threatens.
Well, what did his impudence come to this pitch?
I can scarce think this instance possible for my part. His ingratitude would in this be too visible.
Don't you depend upon that. He's cunning enough to give a colorful reason for what he has done against you. Armed with what he has, I tell you once again, you should never have provoked him.
It is true, but what could I do in the affair? I was not master of my own emotions at the haughtiness of the traitor.
Well, I only wish with any shadow of a peace that it could be patched up between you.
Had I but known how well he had been armed, I would never have made such a...
What would that man have? Doreen, go quickly and ask. Quickly! I'm in no condition to have people come see me.
Good morning, child. Pray, let me speak to your master.
He's in company, and I doubt he can see nobody now.
Nay, I am not for being troublesome here. I believe my coming will have nothing in it to injure him. I come on an affair he will be very glad of.
Your name, pray?
Only tell him that I come on the part of Monsieur Tartuffe for his good.
'Tis a man who comes in a civil way upon business from Vizier Tartuffe, which he says you won't dislike.
You ought to see who this man is and what he wants.
Perhaps he comes to make us friends. How should I behave myself towards him?
Be sure don't be angry, and if he speaks of an agreement, you must listen to him.
Agreement.
Yes. Save you, sir. Heaven blasts the man who will injure you, and may it be as favorable to you as I wish.
These mild beginnings favors my conjecture, and perhaps forebodes some accommodation.
I always had prodigious value for your family, and was servant to the gentleman, your father.
Oh, I'm much ashamed and beg your pardon, but I don't know you or your name.
My name is Molière. By birth a Norman. Why do you think I have this outrageous accent? I am tipstaff to the court in spite of envy, and have had the good fortune for 40 years together to fill that office. Thanks to heaven, and with great honor. I come, sir, by your leave to signify the execution of a certain decree. Yes.
What, are you here?
Oh, sir, without passion. It's only a summons. But is in order to remove hence you and yours, to take out your goods, make room for others without remittance or delay, so it is necessary that
I must go from hence.
If you please, sir. The house at present, as you know but too well, belongs to good Monsieur Tartuffe. Without dispute. He is henceforward the lord and master of your estate by virtue of a certain contract I have here in charge. It is in due course and not to be contested.
Ah, yes. Such prodigious insolence, and what I chance but admire.
And so my business is not with you, but with this gentleman who is mild and reasonable, and knows the duty of an honest man well enough not to oppose authority. Oh, yes, sir. I know you would not rebel for a million, and that like a good honest gentleman, you will suffer me to execute the orders I have received.
You may chance, Monsieur Tipstaff, to find that your coat well brushed here.
Either cause your son to be silent or withdraw. I would be loath to put pen to paper and see your names in my information.
This Monsieur Loyal has a very disloyal sort of look to him.
I've always had a great deal of kindness for all honest people, and should not, sir, have taken charge of these writs, but to serve and oblige you, and to prevent another being pitched on, who not having the love for you which I have, might have proceeded in a less gentle manner.
Then what could be worse than to order people out of their house?
Oh, you are allowed time. Till tomorrow, sir, I shall suspend the execution of the warrant. I shall only come and pass the night here with half a score of my folks, without noise or scandal. Oh, for form's sake, if you please, sir, the keys to the door must, before you go to bed, be brought me. I'll take care your rest shan't be disturbed, and suffer nothing improper to be done. But by tomorrow morning, you must be ready to clear the house of even the least utensil. My people will assist you. I have picked out a set of lusty fellows to do you the more service in your removal. Nobody can use you better, in my opinion. And as I treat you, sir, with a great deal of indulgence, I conjure you not to give me any disturbance in the execution of my office.
I'd give now 100 of the best gold pieces I have left for the power and privilege of laying one solid blow on his ass. Shipped muzzle!
Gibble, don't. Let's make things worse.
His insolence is too great. I can hardly refrain. My fingers itch to be at him.
Faith, Monsieur Brawny Back Loyal, some thwacks avocado by no means say ill upon you.
Such infamous words are punishable, sweetheart. There's laws against women too, you know.
Let's come to a conclusion here. So with this, pray give up your paper of indulgence and leave us.
Oh, goodbye to ye. Heaven bless you all together.
And confound both thee and him that sent thee. Well, mother, you see whether I'm in the right or no. You may judge the rest by this warrant. Do you at last perceive his treacheries?
I am stunned, and I'm trembling from the
Mother.
ground.
Mother.
You complain without cause and blame him wrongfully. This
made perfect, the love of his neighbor, and he knows that riches often spoil a man, and he would only out of pure charity take from you everything that may obstruct your salvation.
Hold your tongue! Must I always be repeating that to you?
Let's come to a conclusion here, sir, with this. Let's discuss what's proper to be done.
And expose the audaciousness of the ungrateful wretch. This proceeding of his invalidates the contract, and his cowardice appears too plain to let him have the success we are apt to surmise.
Later. 'Tis with regret, sir, I come to afflict you, but I'm constrained to it by the imminence of the danger. A very intimate friend of mine, who knows the interest I ought to take in all matters that concern you, has just now brought me news, the consequence of which reduces you to the expedient of a sudden flight. The rogue who has long imposed on you has thought fit an hour ago to accuse you to your prince and to put into his hands, among other darts he shoots at you, the important bag of a state criminal. I'm not informed of the crime laid to your charge, but an order is issued out against your person, and to execute it the better, Tartuffe himself is to accompany the officer that is to arrest you.
And now are his pretensions revealed. And this is how the scoundrel seeks to make himself master of your estate.
Yes, the man I must own is a vile animal.
The least delay may be fatal to you. I have my carriage at the door to carry you off with 1,000 gold pieces that here I bring you. Let us lose no time. The shaft is thrown and these blows are only parried by flight. I offer myself to escort you to a place of safety and to accompany you in your escape even to the last.
To what do I not owe this obliged care?
Nothing.
I must take another time to thank you. And much now beseech heaven to be so propitious to me that I may one day acknowledge this generous service.
Wonderful, let's go.
Goodbye, everyone. Farewell. I love you all. Farewell.
Go quickly, brother. We shall take care to do what is proper.
Softly, sir, softly. Don't run so fast. You shan't go far to find yourself a lodging. We take you prisoner in the name of the king.
Oh, this is the shaft thou hast reserved for last, and 'tis the stroke by which thou ought to... The stroke by which thou ought to dispatch me, huh? And this crowns all the rest of thy bullshit.
All your abuses have nothing in them to injure me. I am instructed to suffer all for the sake of heaven.
Oh, the moderation is great, I must confess.
How insolently the varlet sports with heaven!
Now your raving can't move me. I think of nothing but my duty.
Oh, you have much glory to expect from hence. This employ is a mighty honorable one for you.
The employ can't be anything but glorious when it proceeds from the power which sent me hither.
But you remember, you rump-licking runyon slut, that it was my charitable hand that raised you from a miserable condition?
Yes, I know what succors I might receive from thence. The interest of my prince is my highest duty. The just obligations whereof stifles in the heart all other acknowledgments. Why, I could sacrifice to so powerful a tie, friend, wife, kindred, and myself to boot.
A hypocrite.
How artfully he makes a cloak of what is sacred.
But if the zeal with which you trick yourself out is so perfect as you say it is, how came it not to show itself till he should find means of surprising you soliciting his wife? And how came you not to think of informing against him till his honor obliged him to drive you out of his house? No, I'm not saying that the making over of his home estate to you of late has any bearing on your duty, but intending to treat him as you now do, like a criminal, why did you consent to take anything from him?
I beg you, free me from this clamor, and be pleased to do as you are ordered.
Yes. Excuse me. 'Tis certainly delaying the execution too long. You invite me to fulfill it apropos. And to execute my order, follow me immediately to the prison which we are to allot you for your habitation.
But I, sir?
Yes, you.
Why to the prisons, pray?
You are not the person I shall give an account to. Do you, sir, compose yourself after so warm a surprise? We live under a prince who is an enemy to fraud, a prince whose eyes penetrate into the heart, and whom all the art of impostors can deceive. His great soul is furnished with a fine discernment, and always takes things in a right light. There's nothing gets too much footing by surprise, but his solid reason falls into no excess. He bestows lasting glory upon men of worth, but he dispenses his favors without blindness, and his love for the sincere does not foreclose his heart against the horror that's due to those who are otherwise. Not even this person was able to surprise him, and we find he keeps clear of the most subtle snares. He soon pierced for all the baseness contained within his heart. Coming to accuse you, he betrayed himself. And by a just stroke of divine judgment, he discovered himself to be a notorious rogue, of whom His Majesty had received information under another name, the whole detail of whose horrid crimes is long enough to fill volumes of histories. This monarch, in a word, detesting his ingratitude and undutifulness to you, to his art confusions have had the following, and have sent me, under his direction, only to see how far his assurance would carry him, and to oblige him to give you full satisfaction. He will moreover that I should strip the traitor of all your papers to which he pretends a right, and give them you. By dint of sovereign power, he dissolves the obligation of the contract which gives him your estate, and he pardons moreover the secret offense in which the retreat of your friend involved you. And this recompense he bestows for the zeal he saw you formerly showed in maintaining his rights, to let you see that his heart knows, even when 'tis least expected, how to recompense a good action, that merit with him is never lost, and that he much better remembers good than evil.
Heaven be praised!
Now I begin to realize.
Favorable success.
Who could have foretold this?
Well, traitor, here you go.
Big brother Holt, and don't descend to indignities. Much rather leave the wretch to his evil destiny. I wish that he may happily become a convert to virtue, and that he may reform his life through the detestation of his crimes and the gentle justice of our prince. And go you now, and on your knees, and make the due returns for his leniency to you.
'Tis well said, yes. Let us go with joy and throw ourselves at his royal feet. Yes, to glory in the goodness that he generously displays to us. And having acquitted ourselves of this first duty, 'twill be necessary we apply ourselves with just care to another, with Hymen's tenderest joys to crown Molière? The generous lover and friend extraordinaire!